Me, Mark Wiggins, the speaker man, coming to you live and direct on Off the Bench. I am your host, Mark Wiggins. And today we have the Off the Bench magazine spotlight feature where I bring on people who are in the magazine so you get to know a little bit more about them. And today I'm excited because this brother got a whole lot to say on a topic that means a lot dear to me is the topic of fatherhood and being a father. We have with us today Mr. Justin Jackson. He's an author of the book called A Father's Plight. Mr. Jackson, welcome to the format. How are you?
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I'm well.
Yeah, hey,
Thank you.
good for having. Hey, look, as people know, I don't do bios, so why don't you take a moment to share with us who you are, what you get into, how you got into what you're doing, and what got you to this moment right here.
Okay. Well, my name is Justin Jackson. Born in Newark, New Jersey. Born and raised between East Orange and Newark, New Jersey. I graduated from St. Benedict's Prep in 1999, and I'm gonna get right in, man. My father, he left us at a very, very early age. Left us at a very early age. Like I said, I'm gonna get right in. Fatherhood is something that stuck with me, man. For my life. My life. Whether it hurt me, it definitely did hurt me when he left. Um, and me becoming a father myself. Some of the adversities that I faced. I always had this dream of writing. I always had a dream of writing. I never knew what it would be that I would write about. But it became clear that, fatherhood was something that I would write about. On January 1st, 2017, that became clear that fatherhood would be, the thing that I would write about. I felt like it was my purpose, to talk about these things. It was hard, man, coming up without my dad. And like I said, it's something that stuck with me. Seeing the other kids interact with their fathers, it just stuck with me, man. And I would never ever want my children to feel the way that I felt as a child. So, man, like some of the adversities that I faced, I'll never ever allow that to not make me be a part of my children's lives.
Mm-hmm. Now, what happened on January 1st, 2017?
Oh, okay, January 1st. Okay, my daughter had to be moved for reasons that were out of my control. And at that point, my daughter was she was in Virginia for about 7 years at that point. She was up here with me for Christmas break. Christmas break, January 1st came, it was time for her to go back. Her mom came to pick her up from Virginia. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, man. And I guess, I had been back and forth, back and forth to Virginia for those 7 years that she was gone, and that night it was just something different. And I think it was because she was a little older. So when we got back to Jersey, I drove to Virginia and we got back to Jersey. We rested for like maybe 2 hours and we were just on the move, man, from there, like just having so much fun. She was older, so she was able to do a lot more, so we had so much fun, man, and after her mom came to get her after that, at the new year, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Like I just could not stop. I couldn't stop crying, man.
Right.
I couldn't stop crying when she left me, man. It hurt, and I know that I wasn't my father's like child. You know what I mean? I know I was my father's child, but I wasn't my father. Mm-hmm. You understand? And it hurt me to see her go. Like I said, I fought for my daughter and fought for my daughter. I fought for her the right ways, man, when everything was happening. I don't want to give too much of the book away, but her mother was going through some things. You know what I mean? And I tried to get custody of my daughter, full custody, and it just kept falling on deaf ears. So I found it within myself to let my daughter leave, but also found it within myself to maintain that relationship, man, because it's important. Our kids don't have to be here. So that night, when she left, like I said, man, we had a ball, man, just doing everything, man, together, just me and her. This is before my sons were born. And when she left, I just couldn't stop crying. And that night, I feel like God was talking to me, like, this is your purpose, man. You need to talk about this because we internalize a lot as men. We don't always talk about what we go through, man. And this leads to other things, like, like when you internalize, like it eats at you. It can kind of change you into another person.
Right.
So I said, I'm gonna let it out. I'm gonna follow my dream. I always had this dream to write. This is it. I'm gonna write about this. I'm gonna tell this story in hopes that I can empower other men. I wrote it for myself. It was so therapeutic writing this book. And there are 2 more books that's gonna come after this book. Each book is gonna be a dedication to one of my children. you
Absolutely.
know. But it was just so therapeutic writing this book. But when I wrote this book, I had other men and women, in mind, because I know I always say we have uh, different stories but similar struggles. So I knew that there were people out here that could relate. And if you reading my story will give you that much more strength to fight for your children, then I succeeded. So this was my dream, and my dream became my purpose, and my purpose became my dream.
Mm. That's pretty powerful. And thank you for sharing your story. Here lately, I've been doing a lot of stuff in the men's area,
Mm-hmm.
men's mental health and awareness, and everybody's, and I'm glad that the push is on for us as men to have conversations that are real, that
Yes,
affect. We're affecting generations, right? The
yes,
things that
yeah, we
we
are.
do or don't do affect generations.
That's
So
right.
take me back to, without giving too much of the book, because I did read some of it, and at the beginning of it is really, really riveting. Talked about some of the things that you would say impact what you won't do now when you were a kid. Something you experienced that you said that you would not do as a father.
Wow. Something that I did as a kid that I would not do as a father.
Something that your dad did as a kid that you said he impacted you a lot. But you said, when I grow up, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be this. I'm not going to act like that.
Let me tell you what, showing up.
Mm.
Showing up is everything.
Speak some
You
more to
know,
that,
I,
because you said something powerful. I think sometimes as men, single men, or men with children or whatever, miss this particular point. Say that again for me.
showing up. Fatherhood nobody is ever really prepared to be a parent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, I get so emotional about this topic, man. I get so emotional, man. Like just showing up, man. Like your kids don't care if you have all the money in the world, man. They don't care about that. They don't care about things. I mean, they might come off as if they do, but and it's fine to give your kids like, the PlayStations and the sneakers they want and everything else. You know what I mean? But the time, the time is the most important thing that you can give your children. There's nothing like time spent.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely feel that as a father who was in a divorce and late and had to raise kids as divorced through their teenage years to where they are
Mm-hmm.
now. I definitely get that. You get that. I'm there every day, so I'm not every day, but I'm still around. That was my number one concern, leaving the house. Would my kids forget me as their father? Now, mind you, I was there, cut the cord, all that good stuff, and I'm leaving. I'm like, are they going to remember me? Because I don't want to be that statistic. If my dad never showed up. Well,
And
that's something that I could control to a degree,
yeah,
right?
that's
No
what
matter
you can
how
control.
what was going on in the mix legally, whatever, there are
Yep.
things that I could control about showing up.
And like I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I didn't always. I wasn't always. Just being honest and transparent. I'm a father of three.
Mm-hmm.
And I have three different. Children's mother. That's not the way I planned it. I always wanted to have like, a family. You know what I mean? And uh, it's not the way I planned it. Am I like ashamed of it? No, I'm not. You know what I mean? Because there's never going to be a point where I don't show up. I'm going through some real things right now. You know what I mean? When it, with my last, child. You know what I mean? I'm going through some real things right now. You know what I mean? But I'm never not going to show up. I'm going to fight. I'm gonna fight to the end. I'm just not going to give up. You understand? And everything that I do, telling my story, like each book is going to fall under the umbrella of father, but each book is going to touch on different topics and things that we go through that we don't always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not perfect. I've made my mistakes. So the next book that I'm writing right now, The Father's Plight Volume 2, is going to explore that. How us as men, we can fall into, certain pitfalls, and we can cause perilous situations in our life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Just let me ask you this: what? I'll ask that later. Let me ask this particular question: where did you get the strength to continue on and to fight? What did you go do personally as a dad who wasn't around his children? What did you go through, and who would you look to support you while you're trying to get this done?
Wow. While I was trying to get the first book done,
No, trying to get life together. Now we're about the book, about getting
I'll
life
just
together
get
with
life
your daughter.
together. I'm gonna tell you, man. just experiences, my own experiences, just things that I kind of put. I've always been like a person, man, that one thing that I always say about myself, I'm always going to figure it out. If it's something that I don't know, I'm going to try my best to figure it out. You know what I mean? So I think I've learned to draw strength from things that might burden me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not going to give up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to flip that pain into glory somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something that we really have to learn. And this is why I always talk about just embrace your life. Embrace the things that are meant for you. Let go of the things that aren't. You know, like we have to like identify with the things that cause us trauma,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the things that that really give us the strength that we need to carry on.
Right.
Some people shy away from that type of stuff, but you shouldn't. It's all a part of your journey.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you have like a support group? One. So Justin, did you have any support group or support places that you went that you could go and let your hair down and talk about this to get through, or did you just do it all by yourself?
I actually just did it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I did it by myself.
Nice. And so now, like in the book, I know you talk about some other scenarios and the whole story of your journey. Where are you now in this journey? So you got the book done, you're present, you're doing things. Where are you in this growth journey?
Oh man. As far as like what? Where am I in the growth journey? What do you
Now your children are getting older. You're showing up as a different style of father, different type of father, a different need as a father. As kids get older, how are you now? Again, balancing what you grew up with and without. You're now in that position where you kind of got older. Remember, you didn't have your dad when you're older, so now your kids are getting older. How are you showing up now?
Oh, I mean, I just show up. I'm here every day. Like, as they grow, their needs change. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So life is about adapting, and fatherhood is no different. It's all a part of that. So you adapt to how they grow. You
Mm-hmm.
grow with them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in ways, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. How are you finding people receiving the book? Now they're getting the book, or whoever's reading it, men, whomever, how they're receiving the book.
They love the book. Like I said, I would have never envisioned any of this, man. They love it, man. It's been met with some real positive reviews. Um, we actually got some future plans for the book. Some things that are coming down the pipeline.
Okay, okay.
And I'm working on volume 2 right now. Like I said, it's going to be a 3-book series, with each book being a dedication to one of my children.
Nice. That is awesome. I know there's a lot of stuff in there. What are like? Could you give any like for the men and people who are watching and listening to this podcast and the show? What would you give like the top 3 things a man who is on the other side of this thing called fatherhood, like he's looking to get back in, like he recognizes, hey, I want to be around my kids, but I'm not there. What would you say to that brother right now going forward after you've written your
I'm
book?
gonna tell you what, man. Like, one of the most important things that you can do, like, we live in a digital age. Information is everything. Educating yourself is everything. So please, like, it's right at your fingertips. Like, read about your rights as a father. Educate yourself. You know what I mean? Give yourself that confidence, man, so that when you walk in that courtroom, like, a lot of people lose their voice when they go in front of like a judge or like a public figure, or you understand, like that. Like, give yourself the confidence, like, equip yourself with the proper tools so you can go into that courtroom confident in what you're saying. You know what I mean? And what you're speaking and what you believe in. Just education, man, and just believe in yourself, and keep going. Just don't stop, whatever it is, man. Like, our kids don't ask to be here, you know. So don't stop, man. Don't stop fighting. You feel defeated, man. Just, take a little break, and then just go back at it. And sometimes, stepping away for a minute or two, you know what I mean? Like taking a step back will put you 10 steps forward, but just don't stop.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You seem like the kind of brother that's involved, and that people are probably drawn to you. You got something to say. So when you see other young men that look like you, space-wise, time-wise, in life, what advice are you giving them?
The same thing that I just said, man. Just educate yourself. and just keep going, man. Like, just, just live, embrace your life, embrace your journey, just live your life, man, the right way, you know, like learn everything there is to learn. You know what I mean? My grandfather used to tell me that, like learn everything there is to learn. Like it's never like there's no such thing as having too much information or education. Educate yourself, man. Like believe in yourselves and just like I said, man, keep going, keep pushing.
Right. Oh, just a couple more questions for you, Justin. What are some of the things you tell your children right now, like as far as the positive things that you're pouring into your children right now? As you're saying, I guess it didn't happen for you, but when you see your children, what are you saying to them right now, dropping these seeds in so they grow up and be this whole person they want to be? What do you say to them?
And I'm telling them, I'm teaching them lessons. I'm telling them everything. Like I could give you some examples. With my daughter, like I teach them like nothing in life is free. Like my daughter, she wanted her cell phone. My daughter's 15 now. She'll be 16 on her birthday. Mm-hmm. But she wanted a cell phone, from the age of like 7 to the age of like 10 when she finally got it. So what I did, I told her like nothing in life is free. You got to work for the things you want. So her grades were decent, when she was 7. You know what I mean? But I felt like they could be better. So when I got my new phone, I took my old phone, I put a nice girly case on it, you know what I mean? And made it look all nice and pretty. And I told her, this is yours, but I need something from it. I need you to step your game up with your grades. You know what I mean? So I equipped her with the tools though, so for a whole summer, I bought a chalkboard for her room. I bought a dictionary, took it to Barnes and Noble, bought a dictionary. I bought a reading comprehension book, a math workbook, and a history book, workbook. So every day, one day I will put 5 words on a board and I tell her, I need you to define these words before you eat breakfast. Look these words up in your dictionary, define them, write them in a sentence. The next day she'd do like 2 pages of math. Then the next day she'd do 2 pages of history. Then the next day she'd do 2 pages of reading comprehension. But we did that for the whole summer. And I noticed that she was getting, getting better, at when she went back to school and she started applying herself a little more. You understand? Mm-hmm. But one summer, I think she was 10. When she was 10, she said, Daddy, I want my phone. So I said, you know what you need to do. You know what I mean? So I gave her the tools. She went to school. And when it was time for her to come up for spring break, she came up for, it was Christmas break, I'm sorry. She came up for Christmas break. And man, her grades were perfect. It was perfect, but she understands that, the lesson that I taught her is that she could like take that through her life. It'll translate throughout all walks of her life, that she has to work for the things that she wants. Nothing is free, and she hasn't looked back since, like she's been like a straight A student ever since.
Oh, wow.
But I equipped her with those tools. So that's a life lesson that, as she grows, she'll translate that throughout every walk of her life. You understand? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So my son, my 6-year-old son, Tristan, he's a little bit of he's a sports fanatic, loves football, basketball, just sports, so I teach him, like that you have to be a student first, student comes before athlete.
Right.
You can't have one without the other, and I won't be the one to tell you that. Your coach will be the one to tell you that, and then you're going to come home to me and tell me, well, Daddy, I can't play because my grades aren't, you know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you, I told you so, but, also teach him to be humble because, he likes, he watches a lot of Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and, those are his favorite players, so we go to the park a lot and we throw the ball, we shoot hoops, he'll be 7, but he loves sports. So he has a hoop in his room right now, a little hoop that hangs over the door. So, I played a little basketball when I was younger, I'm not going to say I was the best player, but I played a little basketball. I actually gave up basketball to play lacrosse. I played lacrosse for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
In high school. You know, I could have played in college, but I went to culinary school. But you know, if I could go back in time, I'll probably play in college. It's an awesome game. It's an awesome game.
Yeah, my son played in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love it. You know, but okay, back to Tristan. So sometimes I might let him get out in front of me. We'll play to like 25 shots. So I'm missing on purpose, just missing on purpose. You know, and he'll go up. Oh, daddy, I got 4 and you got nothing. Oh, you know, oh, you suck, you know. So he's a talker. You know what I mean? He like to talk. And I say, Tristan, the game ain't over yet, man. It's not over yet. You know, so I'll let him keep going, you know, and then I'll just catch him. I'm sinking everything. Boom, boom. Before you know it, he's still at 4, you know what I mean? And I'm at like 11. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Tristan, I told you, man, you can't be out there talking, man. You can't be in awe of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, go out there, you know what I mean? As you get older, you'll understand what I'm saying. Let the people be in awe of you. All that dancing and showing off, you can't do that, man. You know what I mean? Play the game until the game is won or lost. But you played through it. You know what I mean? Don't stop and try to show off and showboat. It's not worth it, man. You know what I mean? You need to learn to be humble, show some humility. You know, so yeah, I'm teaching them these types of lessons. And then I have a 2-year-old, but you know, he's 2. So
that's nice. Well, this is some good stuff. I mean, I definitely can co-sign a lot of what you said. You know, I remember flashing back to me raising my kids in those moments. Yeah. Those I call them empowering conversations. That's the stuff that we say that sounds really good, and they go, "What'd you say?" And then when they get older, I remember you said that conversation, right? Yep. And now that you know you didn't have that according to you in your book, but you want to give your kids that base. You know what I'm saying? That when they get older.
I'm not gonna say I didn't have it because I did have my uncle. You know what I mean? And I just want to, you know, say, you know, shout out to them. I love them, and my mom. You know what I mean? My mom was amazing. You know, but there were things that, you know, she couldn't teach us as a woman. You know, so I'm not gonna say I didn't have it. I just didn't have it from where I should have had. You know, like you know, I had them. You know, it was just different because, you know, it wasn't from my father, and I always longed for that, man. But it taught me everything that I didn't want to be to my own.
Absolutely, absolutely. Those conversations are powerful, meaningful, and again, to speaking to presence, showing up, mentorship. You know, for everybody who's listening, to make sure you're present in that child's life. You may or may not know their full story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You may be the only piece of positive they get to see, right? And that's still our role as a community, as we're supposed to be. You know, I think that's a great message that you have in your book. So Justin, tell us where we can find your book, what else you got going on out there, how people can follow you. I know you're in the Clubhouse, so go ahead and drop all that information.
Yeah. Okay. The book is available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble. It's available on Apple. And all those other book streaming services that are out there, it's available. I believe it's still available on Walmart as well. You guys can find me on Instagram at I_am_Bernard Jax. That's BERNARDJAX. You guys can also find me at the Red Diary Club. The Red Diary Club. The Red Diary Club is actually it's an Instagram page, and it's also a room on Clubhouse. It's a club on Clubhouse where we talk about trauma. We have those tough conversations. It's a different topic every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where we talk about like some of the tough conversations that people don't like to have all the time. You know what I mean? It's a form of identifying with our traumas. We always say, man, we build together. We cry together, we laugh together, we build together, we heal together. And that's what it's about. You know, we do a lot of like healing in that room.
Who's the audience for men, women, or anybody for men?
It's definitely an audience for men, but it's an audience for women too. It's me along with 3 other women hosts.
Okay, cool.
Yep, and moderate.
I'll make sure we put those in the show notes so they can follow and support that. I do follow you on the gram, and appreciate your support of what we're doing up here at Off the Bench Magazine.
Yeah, I appreciate your energy. Too, man. Thank you.
Y'all. He's going to be in the April issue, and also in the May issue, and probably be in the June issue, writing on topics and stuff like that. Because when I met this brother off Clubhouse, we got to talking, and I was like, "Yo, I need your book in the magazine. I need your message in the magazine," because that's what we're about. You know, I'm about getting people off the bench, whatever that may be for them. right? For those, it's entrepreneurism. For them, some it's education. For some, it's diet and health and wellness journey. Get to the doctor. Some is like, go be that dad, right? Show up. Let's go. Let's get off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Grab your crown and let's go.
That's right.
This is what this is about. Excuses are okay, but in my world I run in, excuses are the tool of incompetency. There's what happened, there's the facts, and then there's what you're going to do at this moment. So
that's right.
Let's show up. Let's be there for our children. Let's do what we can for our children. Do what you can when you can, because the times will change. And like my kids are moved up and grown. They're adulting. One's adulting and one's fixed ready to launch out of college. Lord, come through graduation. So that's my son, right? Because let me tell you something. We spent while the pandemic, it had its pluses and minuses. The plus was that that was the longest time, 8 months, that my son and I had spent together since I left the house, right? And we've been divorced about 10 years, so he was a kid. 8 months with not just a kid, but a grown man. Like he spent his 21st birthday with me. So, bro, we was having all kind of conversations. We've always had it. We had that relationship. We just talk, me and my kids. Right now, we talk about any whatever. And
that's the thing, man. Like my mom, and I tell my mom this all the time. You guys didn't give us enough credit when we were younger. All that stuff that y'all thought that y'all were shielding from us, we heard you guys and we saw a lot of it. Right. You know what I mean? Because like they tell me now, like, oh, you talk to your kids about too much. You talk, but I feel like no, like I talk to them about the things I need to. Right. I'm not gonna hold them from it.
Right. My dad was the same way. My dad, he did the thing. And again, we grew up in a church one night. He put things in the context that we could digest it at the age that we were. You can't be dropping all that we know and how we would talk now to a 7-year-old. They're just not going to understand it. But I clearly remember a couple of nights my dad was notorious for grabbing young guys at the church and going canoeing, hiking, do all the weird stuff that people didn't do growing up in the neighborhood. He took me to New York as a kid. We get to New York. It's 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. My mom would go to bed. My dad said, "Let's go." I'm like, "Where you taking Mark? We going to the city." I'm walking my dad, and I got to see stuff.
Yeah.
He pointed it out.
Like real stuff.
At this, you know what I'm saying? And at 54, I'm still talking about it. So apparently, it was impactful.
And it's stuff. Exactly, it's stuck with you.
Absolutely.
Stuff that's stuck with you, man. And you learn as you grow. You learn. Okay, well, this is why he did this. You know what I mean? And this is the exact same way. I'm the same way with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I just lay it on.
Right, and just as a disclaimer, no one claiming that he was 100% great all the time, and he would let me know when he wasn't, and like, yo, I messed up. I got to fix it, got to handle it, and these are things.
I'm the same way, man.
You know what I'm saying? And no one's asking for perfection.
I'm nowhere near perfect, man.
No,
the second book will show you that.
I'm not asking for perfection. What I'm asking for, like you said earlier, I'm asking for consistency.
That's right, consistency and that effort, man.
Effort's up. But man, we can talk about this all night. I appreciate you coming on, and we're definitely not the last we hear from you. Everybody, make sure you continue to subscribe to the magazine, Off the Bench Magazine. I'm loving the feedback. We're doing great things. We have more things coming. Go to offthebenchmagazine.com to register. Definitely follow us on Instagram at Off the Bench Magazine. Right there with all the links there, you can see the latest episodes that are being released. And stay with us and follow us and join the Off the Bench tribe. We are making some moves and definitely got more things coming down the pipe. So with all that being said, I'll leave you with this. Remember, if you can reach your dreams with a step ladder, then they're probably too low. I'm out.